for real deuces.
Let's bark.
Let's bark. All righty. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Vital MTB's B Practice Podcast. I'm Jason Schroeder, and as always, I'm joined by Tanner Stevens, Austin Hackett-Klopp, and Dakota Norton. It is a new year, and with that, we have some cool and exciting changes coming to the podcast. The biggest one being that we are finally going to record this. Disclaimer, this has got to be like our 10th trying to record it, so please, God, let this work. But here we are. Now you can put a face to the voices you've been listening to. I'm stoked with how this is evolving. I think it's going to be pretty fun moving forward. Unfortunately, this means Dakota can't be cooking dinner while we record anymore. Austin has to sit in a chair and can't be laying in bed. But it's sweet. And I'm stoked with this little thing we've put together, and people apparently listen to it. So other awesome update for this year is that we have sponsors. So a huge shout out to Maxxis, Bergtech, and Industry 9 for coming on board. And we've got some cool stuff planned once we get into post-race shows during the World Cup season that'll tie in some sponsor plugs with some consistent sections in these podcasts.
As most riders know, tires play a huge part in deciding if you make it down a section of trail in control or end up bonsaiing to the bottom on your head. Tires are not the place to cut corners, and Maxxis offers a massive range of models to meet the needs of any rider. They've built their name through racing at the highest levels of the sport, claiming countless race wins, World Cup overall titles, and world championships along the way. And they've also been the most popular Sharpied out tire in the history of racing. That doesn't tell you just how good they are. Visit your local shop or favorite online retailer to get the same tread patterns and compounds used by the fastest racers in the world. Designed, tested, machined, anodized, and hand-built by fellow mountain bikers in Asheville, North Carolina, Industry 9 wheels and hubs have become synonymous with quality and durability. I don't think there is a noise quite as iconic as the buzz of an Industry 9 hub. They offer wheels for every budget and riding discipline, from dirt jumping to gravel riding or e-biking. Plus, you can get crazy with customized hubs and individual spoke colors. So if you've been dying to build that Rasa-themed bike or some sweet rainbow wheels, Industry 9 has got you covered. Make sure to go check them out. With the tagline Labor of Love, Bergtech isn't shy about the countless hours they've invested in developing components that they feel offer riders a true technical advantage. From bars, stems, and grips, to anodized axles, shock hardware, saddles, chainrings, and frame bolts, everything is made with the intention of offering something new and worthwhile into the market. The cockpit of choice for the Santa Cruz Syndicate and many other riders and racers, make sure to check out Bergtech the next time you go to upgrade your contact points or give your bike some color and bling.
We're going to do our best to not let these sponsorships go straight to our head, but we're upward trajectory. We're going big time now. So you get what you pay for, and it's going to be good.
I've been using the clout.
Yeah, we couldn't make it as professional mountain bikers, but we can be professional podcasters or show hosts.
We're on the circuit for sure.
Now. Yeah. Dakota can't say anything about the sponsors because they're all conflicting, so that's interesting. But yeah, thank you guys for being a part of this and putting in the effort, because it's a bit of a passion project for you guys, more so than it is me. So yeah,
thanks for having us.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's good stuff. It is fun.
It's fun, except for waking up at 6 a.m. to attempt to record a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We've dozing off.
Mm-hmm. We've gone into it in the past because, if you don't know, we're all, minus Tanner and I, we're all on different time zones, but we're all in different places trying to record with different internet connections. And Spomer's in the background now actually playing The Wizard of Oz. So we'll have graphics that pop up, which is cool. But yeah, it's a process to make these work. So let's just get into it. Let's make it happen. We're going to make these shorter than they've been in the past. So, our plan is to hopefully do this once a week. Each time when we sit down, we'll kind of have one main topic and give everybody something to look forward to listening to on a weekly basis. So today is just team rumor stuff. Most stuff has come out as far as people changing going to 2023. And let's just kick it off with the best team rumors troll of all time, Mr. Jesse Melamed, leaving Rocky Mountain after riding for them since he was an infant, I'm pretty sure, and moving over to Canyon Collective. So pretty big move. I know we usually talk about downhill, but he takes the cake in our team rumors for him for the year. So open with an enduro rider. What's your guys' take? Were the espresso Instagram story shots on purpose, or did he mess up and then he tried to make up for it?
100% on purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm
You don't let
sticking
that one
with it.
slide.
That's my final answer.
I agree. I'm with you.
He was having fun with it.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool move. I think that this is sweet for him after winning the overall and I don't know, earning a spot on a big, not that Rocky Mountain wasn't a big team. Clearly they got along for a long time, but yeah, this is pretty cool. Get on Canyon, a bit of a bigger brand and obviously a bit surprising change, but pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
agree.
From the look at that dude's haircut, he likes to party. Like, he was trolling. Like, dude, that dude's got a sick mullet. Man. No, I think it's probably pretty cool because he's rode for Rocky Mountain for a while, and as you develop as an athlete and you want to, make changes and just kind of see yourself as a top guy, riding for one of those big brands is definitely one of those things where you need like a new starting point of like your professional career. So riding for a big brand, I think will sometimes make you feel like this is your shot and to win.
Yeah. No, totally. I agree. Yeah, I think it'll be exciting. I mean, he's coming off of an epic year being the overall champ and seems like a pretty good time to change things up and just kind of keep that forward momentum going. So, I mean, shit, it looks like he's ripping as it is on the bike. And and when they launched or put out like the release, all the new SRAM bits were on his bike too, which was equally as exciting as the news finally being live. So
it is
more of a side note, but
yeah, it's interesting because he is riding, I forget which model he's riding, but he's riding like a size small because their bikes are really absurdly large.
Mm-hmm. I think he's on a spectral.
So,
what size?
Yeah, it's have a
what size was Jack riding?
A small and a medium, I think. And Jack's like 6'1".
Yeah, I know he was riding a small bike, but
yeah,
is that not the thing to do as a professional athlete now? I mean, Loic rides like an S1. Like,
I think he's a bit bigger now.
He's
like
a
a
bit bigger now.
460 maybe reach, something like that.
Yeah. But Loic's
that's
like
small.
He's essentially on an
public
S4
standards.
Yeah.
But
that was Sam Hill. Like Sam Hill's always been on that, and I don't think we're gonna doubt Sam Hill when
you can't be a mountain biker if you doubt.
I think
Hill.
bikes went too big, and now it's coming back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that trend is certainly happening a bit.
Yeah.
So,
okay, we've watched Jesse rip this one BC trail too many times. Let's move on to kind of the switch out is Jack Moir leaves Canyon and now is riding for YT. My take on this is that that shot is so good of Jack with the selfie shot.
That's awesome.
When Jack originally went to enduro, it was because his downhill ride with Cannondale fell out and he was just like rocking a hard place, needed a team, and Canyon was like, "You can come race enduro for us." And it's worked out really well for him. Mm-hmm. And I know that he wasn't maybe super stoked on. I think he got in because it was all he could do or all where he could go, and then there wasn't a lot of room for growth. And I'm sure YT's paying him what he is worth, and I'm sure that's something that he was looking for. So yeah, it should be exciting. It's for YT, it's kind of their first real push in enduro. And I mean, I don't know. I don't really follow enduro terribly well, but their bikes to me haven't really always been like race bred, perhaps. Like they seem really cool. To be really interesting to see somebody like that race one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that enduro bike, similar to the downhill bike, like it carries speed really well, pumps really well, but maybe is not the best of all the enduro bikes in the rough. But with Jack's riding style, I see him really enjoying riding that bike too. So it'll be cool to see like how fast that style of a bike will do and on that dude in an enduro, like compared to what he did last year, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting seeing the YT mob have, enduro riders. That's different, unexpected.
Yeah.
And on that note of money too, I wonder, is Jesse making similar money to Jack? And like, how was budgeting factored for Canyon? And did that have anything to do with, Jesse being on Canyon, Jack not, Jack going to YT? I wonder how those politics played out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if I were to guess, Jesse's probably making more money riding for Canyon than Jack did for Canyon, but it's less than Jack wanted from Canyon, which is what YT could offer him. Right. And, it's like if you work a job anywhere after so many years, you sort of anticipate getting a raise in that time. And I'm sure that Jack kind of had that idea with Canyon, whereas Jesse, coming new on board was probably, I would assume he's making more than Rocky, and there's probably plans for the future for him that maybe Rocky couldn't offer.
Yeah. And I wonder how much of that salary comes into Jack getting his own sponsors, because it's the team doesn't carry all the sponsors for YT.
Yeah, which is unique. I mean, what do you guys think about that? It's sort of like it seems like a dream setup as a racer, but then also like, does that mean you have the same funding for your team? And I don't know how that works, It
seems like a little bit of a logistical kind of nightmare for keeping all that amount of stuff on the truck. But I mean, that's maybe why they have such a small team and so specialized, so that they can compensate for like having the amount of parts each rider will need, right?
It's super unique given that they can run their own parts. Like the Syndicate used to run, same bikes and their own gear, Menard on O'Neill, other riders on like Fox and stuff. But this is super unique, having, choose your own components to build your bike.
Like,
that does
Jack
sound like a
pitting
logistic.
out of SRAM, like at the Enduros. Like,
I'm assuming they will have their own deal, because they were running 2 easy ups last year. When I talked to JP, when he was looking at, when I was, the following year from me being on the mob, I talked to JP a bit, and he's like, yeah, because I always knew there was plans to like start in 23 fresh. And he was like looking for a way. He said, I want to do this racing thing, but with a twist, like to be different, but and find a way to really cater to every rider and make them feel like, special. So I guess this is his way of doing it. And I don't know if it's really to make him feel special, but I think that he just wanted to do something different and have a change and give a competitive edge. So making a rider believe that he has every of the best part on its bike. I mean, that's definitely like a mental side of racing that we haven't seen. For the most part, there are teams with really good parts, but is everyone always happy with every single thing on their bike? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think going back to with, when Jack was on Intense, I think that was a big point of conversation. It sounded like the last year he was on is that a lot of the team sponsors he just didn't jive with. And that was something was looking for moving forward, was basically like SRAM Rock Shocks.
Max.
And now it's even to like a new level being on YT. It's interesting though, is I only briefly looked at the photo of each of their bikes, and they're really similar. I think like the main difference is Casper Woolley, who was on Yeti and now is on the YT, like shout out to him. That's sweet. But he was like the only one that had, I think just Shimano brakes was like kind of the main thing I noticed. Everyone's like Renthal cockpits, SRAM drivetrains. I think like maybe a difference in like coil versus air shock, but yeah, it'll be interesting too, if it's truly open for them to run what they want. If it's what they want, when they want, like, are they able to just like be testing products constantly throughout the year and finding what they think is an advantage?
Right.
Interesting.
Are they allowed to have, are they allowed to have their own sponsors? Like, could Jack have like a SRAM sponsor and have that like branded on his gear? And
I don't know. I was wondering that though.
I know that YT really does not like, for the most, maybe I'm speaking out of context, but from what I understand, they want to be like the only thing on the jersey. Like, this is our race team. We want the biggest logo placement. Like, we don't want. So maybe
that checks out from the video. Like, huge YT logo on the chest.
I've heard things about YT asking to cover up gear sponsor logos and replace them. So I would imagine that's the reason why YT is running YT gear now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I would
assume they probably buy the stuff.
Is there any other team that you can think of that has done this sort of setup, like a high profile team? I can't think of any, but that's not to say it hasn't been done for sure.
I can't think of any. I mean, for components. I mean,
Brendan
thing, but...
Right.
Brendan Fairclough has. I mean, he's been transitioning out of racing, but his Scott deal is he runs TRP brakes, he runs NV wheels, or at least he was. I don't know what he's doing now. And then he was running, kind of had his own separate deals. So he wasn't running the synchro stuff. He has Deity. He wasn't running, I forget what wheels they were on, but he wasn't running the same wheels as the team, but he was still pitting under Scott Factory team. And
is he racing?
Roster.
What's his status?
I know they're filming a new film that is coming out last year. So
look at him smirking.
That's quadruple death grip.
Yeah, so that's
they're still death gripping.
Yeah.
Is he going to be death gripping at World Cups?
I hope so. If you're really sick.
Yeah.
So
I'd assume we see him back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's too sick not to be.
True.
Dude, he got sixth place at Leger like 2 years ago.
That's true.
That's all you need. You just got to show up, remind everybody, do a seat bounce.
Dude,
go film a video.
Greg Menard is good for another 10 to 15 years after his performance a couple years ago.
All right. Move on. I think that's all we have for Enduro for the most part. All right. Specialized Gravity added Jordan Williams to the team, which is kind of surprising. I mean, he was with Madison Saracen for 4 years, 2 of which were as a junior, where he was super successful. It's going to be his first year elite this coming season. I think it'll be interesting. That's Specialized Gravity is, I forget what the actual name of just the team is, but basically they are sponsored by Specialized. So it's been Loic and Finn, but it's also been Loic, the team manager, most of their mechanics as a unit since LaPierre days. And so it'll be really interesting how Jordan just kind of fits into that whole team dynamic. Loic and Finn have been together for a while. So, I think Loic actually was in SoCal around Supercross, and I was kind of asking him. The whole team was, and Loic came and rode with a group of us one morning, and he was like, "Oh yeah, he's like Jordan's just super mellow and focused and real laid back." And I just kind of got that vibe that Loic is so competitive, and he's been used to sort of beating Finn all these years, and Finn's been etching closer to being at the same caliber, and it'll be really unique having 3 riders that are all capable of winning every race.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see too the Jordan Williams Jackson Goldstone battle going into this year, because who do you think's going to come out on top in the overall? I think it's a lot closer than people think. Jackson Goldstone carries the name and the hype, but I think Jordan's going to be really good. Well, we know that.
Yeah.
I think Jordan is pretty laid back, but I think he thinks pretty highly of himself. He's definitely very headstrong and confident. So, and where Jackson is too, but Jackson seems to be less, maybe not focused, but he likes to, play around and play ride and enjoys riding and having a good time. And it seems like Jordan is just a cold-blooded killer. That dude is savage.
And is that going to transfer to elite results better, do you think?
I think they're both on high-level teams, but I think that the amount of testing that Specialized Gravity team does, and I know Santa Cruz does as well, but I think that Jordan's his mentality on the Specialized program could be pretty lethal.
I'm not biased or anything, but that team's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're pretty biased, but it is cool.
Make sure it's covered up. I'm not doubled up in Specialized gear.
The question is, will he be on the hovercraft?
Ooh.
The UFO.
Ooh, that new bike?
I can't say.
But
the UFO.
Can you hand draw out what the bike looks like?
Where is
so
the
there's
shock
like wheels.
located?
There's a wheel
Top
up
tube.
front, and there's a wheel in the
Where
back.
is the shock? So the down tube's here. Where's the shock?
It's like somewhere towards like closer to the rear wheel than the front. But
Spoiler: there's no shock.
So do you
I
turn the
just wish we
clickers from the
Sorry,
bottom?
I don't
And how
know.
many
I wish I
links
did.
are there? Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay. I just watched the little black flapperoo that flaps, and I'm
The
like,
horse blanket.
I see a shock reservoir. I know where it's at.
The diaper.
If
They
you
need to
case
take the bike
something-
diaper off.
If you case something, is the reservoir going to snap off? That's the question.
I couldn't tell you.
Simultaneously.
I don't know. I don't know these answers.
Man.
Man. Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I feel like maybe you were mentioning it, Tanner, or somebody was mentioning that like Jordan's just on the demo right now. Like they only have one or two, or only Loic and Finn are on those mules, or just Loic or whoever.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Finn has
I
one,
think
but
just Loic and Finn.
Finn has
Yeah.
one, but
Mhm.
and Loic's been testing one, but yeah, I don't know what they're showing up on.
yeah. Did anyone see how sick that whip was in the video?
Yeah,
How about the
Like,
turn
he
up?
was.
Were you guys watching that? Like,
Yeah.
there was one where he was like fully like head in front of the front wheel. Like,
Oh, here it comes.
all right,
So
let's make this front and center. Come on.
this one's sick. The
This
first one's
it's the
pretty
first
sick.
one where his like head's like in front of his front wheel.
Oh yeah.
Hold
That-
on.
Oh,
Yeah, he
wait,
looks
wait,
good.
wait
He
for it.
looks good on that bike.
There's it's a right hand
yeah, it
hip
does
a
look
little
pretty
bit,
good.
and it looks so good. He's definitely swinging. I like it.
He is going for it.
The
And-
first whip is pretty nasty,
It's
but the
that
second
one,
that one's
one,
sick.
yeah.
But the turn up was, bro. He leaned that shoulder in like, oh, Poppy here.
If I'm gonna be honest, when he was on Madison, I didn't feel like I knew what he looked like riding a bike.
Dude,
You know what I mean? Like
I
I
didn't
know how
don't
British he
him or
was.
anything.
Like, I knew he was British. Obviously, he's on Madison. You got to be British. But like, I didn't realize like when you look at the kid, he's British.
Bro,
Oh,
he's
The
a
weirdest
big-
shade you've
right
ever
there,
thrown.
right there.
He's a big boy too. Like he's like his shoulders are like
Yeah, he fits in with dude. I don't think the quads are definitely not Loic size. Loic is got like we thought his
Come on.
Loic's quads are like
Come on, don't do me like this.
That's
Yeah.
that's where I dropped the ball on the prep for this. Is I should have sent Spomer a photo of Loic from the day we rode, because
Bro.
he showed up on like a borrowed bike in Lululemon shorts, and I swear to God, each of his quads was like a 32-inch waist.
dude
Like, and he did a ride with us, and then he gets done, and he went and did sprints
up the
up a
road.
hill. Yeah, like
Like,
up the road we were pedaling.
like 20% grade hill. Like
hmm
yeah,
Yeah.
How long were these sprints? Were they like BMX sprints, or are we
No,
talking
no.
efforts?
they were efforts.
I mean, with legs like that, how many sprints do you have to do before you feel it? I mean, you got to
Dude,
sprint for an
also
hour.
like
How many chains
Yeah.
do you break?
Oh my God.
man,
Listen,
yeah.
Okay, we're tangenting a little too hard.
But
we
look
do-
at the
we
whip.
do
Look
that.
at the whip. The head placement is in front of the front wheel, like or to the side of it, like
that was a
Mhm.
pretty good one.
whole. Yeah,
No, that gets a hard
Back end
check.
Yeah, not bad,
high.
not bad.
yeah.
So
looks good.
obviously, the interesting part about this team switch too is Chris Grice not on Specialized Gravity now, and on the Gen S Specialized team. Which, yeah, I'm curious. I obviously I should probably know more about this, but I don't know a ton. Dak,
That was
Dak,
my
you seem
first
to know.
question.
Back hand up.
Dude, I think best case scenario for Chris.
I think
Like-
it's good too, because
Mhm.
yeah. Anyway, to cut you off, sorry, you go.
No, it's all right. Like he got tossed in, like didn't necessarily have the junior confidence building that maybe, some of these other like Jackson or Jordan did. The kid's fast, dude. Like I can go to Windrock and lay down some pretty fast laps and he can hang on my wheel. And like absolutely haul and he'll hang. So I know he has speed. And I just think when he gets in that environment, the pressure to perform with his personality, just sometimes it's not the recipe for success for him. And I think if we see him on Gen S, we see him having a little bit more fun, like instead of being like, oh, I got to perform, like he can loosen up and roll his shoulders back, have a few laughs. He's got amazing equipment. Nothing's changed from the bike. And then he's going to have a whole lot less pressure to perform and still all the support.
Yeah, no, I think it's sweet. I'm stoked he's on Gen S. Like what I can say, like Specialized loves Chris Grice. And so I was very curious what would happen with the Specialized Gravity situation because I was hearing the rumors of Jordan Williams and all that. But yeah, and I think this is sweet because with Chris also, so his first year junior is the COVID year. So he gets a shortened season. He gets a podium at the end of the season, right? Great. That's a great promise. And then his following year, he has some okay rounds and then breaks his arm. So he misses all of that. And then he's thrown into his first elite season, teammates with Finn and Loic. That's got to be a lot of pressure, right? And so he qualified for a couple of races, showed speed. I think that's more of like his development year. And then this year he gets, a lower pressure situation to like continue that growth that I think he's kind of missed from like the arm injury, the COVID season. And yeah, I think he'll like come into his own this year and it's going to be sweet.
Yeah, no, I agree.
My hand up here.
Spit it, baby.
This team is owned by Laurent as well, the one who owns the Specialized Gravity team. That's what I've heard, is that it's like it's all under the same brand, like they're all under the same management.
That's cool.
Larger management, but yeah. So Grice, and then there's Isabella Yankova, who was junior world champ. It's gonna be her first elite year. It'll be interesting.
Thank you.
And then there's like some mega groms on that team, just like really young kids, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, stoked for Grice. He's definitely deserves a ride, and it's sick to see him like stay on a Specialized.
For sure. Yeah, he's a nice kid.
I had a talk with him earlier this week too about like his bike sizing because he went to the S3 last year, and like I watched him ride and I've watched him ride for a lot of years, man. I've done a lot of laps behind the kid. I've helped coach him a little bit here and there, and he didn't look like himself once he went to the S3. And then not to mention he had a shoulder injury at Lord's, ripped his shoulder out, which I know how hard it is. I've ripped my shoulder out and you're just not the same. Like you don't have the same level of strength. And on top of that, he was riding that S3. And I think he made some changes to make the S3 fit him a little bit better and learn some things on suspension and the setup of the bike that I think seemed to be really promising. And he's getting to, he went in test for 10 days overseas. And I think he's learning a lot, and that just that mature and that development, the maturity and the development that he's gone through like in the last year, and like the changes he's made, I think will show a lot of growth for the kid too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Yeah.
Stoked for next year or this year.
Still feels like next year. So long from now.
I know. All right. Next bullet point. Commencal 100 is donezo. Pretty crazy. I mean, 9 years, which I was actually at 100%, or right before I started there is when that team was kind of becoming what we know it more so now. Or knew of it the last so many years. So yeah, crazy. It's a bummer. They were one of like the more recognizable teams on the circuit they've had a lot of talent over the years. The current team from 2022 is really stacked with a lot of sick talent. And it'll be, going through like the list of people that have ridden for them. I mean, Amory rode for him. We got Bruce Klein, Reese Wilson, Angel Suarez, Millie Johnset, and Greg Williamson were the most current riders. And then Thomas Estak and Hugo Frixelon, they've been on for a while. And it'll be, we know where Greg and Millie and Angel are ending up, but nothing's really been mentioned about Thomas or Hugo. And I would guess that Commencal is incorporating them in one way or another. I'm going to go with what I've been saying for like a year of us doing this show now. Whenever Hugo wants to just put his race plates on the wall, start just doing video parts only, we will all support that. He does not need to race.
Dude.
It's epic when he's there, but his video, his riding is all time.
Yeah, but he still does like pull a top 20 out, and you're
It's
like,
insane.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like he's there for like the good times, and then
Mhm.
every now and again, shit comes together.
Dude,
I mean, same with
he's like the
Thomas.
designated hitter. Like you just like put him in, like their steep tracks come in, like the Val de Sol, the Andorra, and you just put the designated hitter in, and he just swings.
It's true.
It's either like he's gonna get a home run or strike out, but he's swinging. Like you give him the sign, like a little shake of the ear or something, and like, yeah,
Turns on.
mm-hmm.
And what is this? This drops Commencal down to what, like 15 World Cup teams instead of 16?
Something around there. But,
I wonder
'cause
the
they were-
percentage of Commencal bikes in World Cup finals last year.
Yeah, very high. I mean, if it's not a team that is factory supported, it's a privateer pretty much. It's insane these days.
yeah.
Well, kind of keeping on with Commencal on 100%, we got Greg Williamson, who moved to Madison Saracen, kind of filling Jordan's spot, I suppose. And yeah, I think that'll be. I think Greg was only on Commencal 100% for 1 year, right? It was just, or was it
2 years? I think
2 years.
Uno, and then there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's moved around a little bit, which I think is always tough. And hopefully whatever, I don't know if he has more than a 1 year deal. Hopefully it's two or more. But yeah, that team seems to produce good results. And yeah, he's a good dude. Hopefully he does well. Millie John said, what?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh.
Nope.
She too is kind of moving on, and I have the right notes. Sorry, she's going to Canyon Collective Factory Team. So that's actually a super sick move for her.
Pretty sweet. I can't put my finger on it, but it's just like a good look for some reason. Like, just seems like a cool fit. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like she's real close with Tani, which I don't know, maybe that why in my mind it just seems like a nice fit. And yeah, I mean, also side note, did you guys see her photo she posted from that road bike crash she had like a couple weeks ago?
Millie's?
You probably should have. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Got work.
It was gnarly.
That's
Like
not
it wasn't
good.
like a video of it, but it was like post photo crashes of just like a road bike in two pieces and her face pretty battered. Like
Nice.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Gotta stay away
no,
from
thank
those
you.
skinny tire bikes.
Yeah.
Dude, road bikes are sick, all right?
Dude, road
Get
bikes
out
are
of here.
so whack.
Maybe no.
Oh,
What is that? What is that term? Miss me with it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, sure, whatever. See,
But
this
she's
is
all good?
Yeah.
Looks
I'll say this is the part of the podcast we record them that I usually would cut out, but now we can't cut it out. So
It's all here.
here we are.
Wait, just because you guys are the road bike guys, I mean,
Yeah.
catch me on the e-bike. How about that?
yeah, I don't discriminate. I ride all bikes over here, all
Better
right?
watch out. I got a second battery, dude. I'm ready for those long rides.
Big
Oh,
long
yeah.
days.
Do you carry the long battery with you, or you leave it like in the truck?
No,
And swap
I
it
leave
on
it charging in the van at the bottom. Swap them out.
And then he puts the other one on the charger.
I don't know if you're doing like transcontinental rides or some shit, and you got like,
Oh,
Evoc makes Camelback, or two brands. Evoc makes hydration packs that have they're e-bike packs with a spot for a second battery.
Whoa.
And I was like, man, e-bike
Is that going to
rated
catch fire
everything.
too?
That's
Dude,
so
my back
European.
hurts too much.
No, it's
My back hurts too much
anti-flammable.
already.
Oh, man.
Really showing your age there.
Too old.
That's why he doesn't have an energy drink sponsor.
Wait, we're getting to that. We'll get there.
Catch me in 5.
All right, so with Millie joining Canyon Collective, big shout out to our boy Dante Silva leaving Canyon Pirelli, joined the same team, moves up to the factory team. So kind of in a way, Mark Wallace moved on, so Dante's kind of filling that spot, joining Troy and Luca. So I think that's a huge move for him.
Dude.
I mean, Dante has been really consistent. I think if you were to ask him, his 2022 season was short of where he expected himself to be, but from a results standpoint, like, he's consistent. And I think that not only him knowing where he could be, everybody else sees that potential clearly. I mean, they're moving him up. So yeah, dude, shout out to Dante. Nice
Love
as
to
human.
see it. SoCal
Yeah.
speed
Yeah, he's a
team
good kid.
making big moves.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where is Mark Wallace going? I don't know this.
Norco.
Norco. Okay.
I think they've been trying to get him for a while, huh?
Yeah.
That makes
Canadian
sense
brand,
though too,
Canadian
you know.
rider.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I thought it was pretty interesting because they were like, "Oh, we're not going to have a team," and then they're like, "Psych! Actually, we got 3 hitters. We're going racing."
Yeah.
And then Propane's
Sweet.
like, we're not going to have a team.
They kind of just switched.
You know, I'm just happy I'm not a part of this year. Oh, like,
Zach's
we're not
like,
going to
been
have
there,
a
done
team.
that.
We are. Psych!
That was
I don't
so
know.
2020.
Yeah, dude. I mean, but the mob's back, so we didn't really poke at that when we could have, but
Yeah.
Dude,
What was your
Hey.
first thought?
my first thought? Oh, God. No thought. I'm happy, dude. Like, Aaron Gwynn Racing is going great. I quite enjoy it. Couldn't be in a better spot. Happy.
Good.
all right, we'll leave it with that. The union, join the union.
Jack,
They
give us the
have-
union update. I have a feeling you know things about this team.
Yeah, dude. Lots of changes. Some of the OGs have moved on, right? And that's always like the union is a development team. So once the riders can go off onto a big team, then that's exciting for them and that they've done their job, right? Their goal is not to be a big team. It is a feeder team and help riders get noticed and then get on to bigger, better paying, more supporting race teams, right? So Antoine Piron obviously shows a lot of promise. I heard that new Italian kid's supposed to rip. We know Lockie's fast. And then big ol', huge ol'. He's just going to be there all season going, oh my. So, and Frida's going to shred. So, we're all
Frida!
good.
Stoked
Frida's
Frida's.
ripping.
Yep.
Yeah. Stoked
Nice.
to see her back ripping. Dirt bike now,
Yeah.
How's Frida's head? Getting there?
Yeah, it's getting there, man. It takes time. The big thing is just the amount of conditioning her brain needs. Like, she gets really tired at the end of a ride. But the other day, she worked all day and then went and rode. And she has to treat every day like it's a big ride. She's got to eat and be really good with her nutrition and keep her blood sugar levels equal, flat,
Even.
no spikes or anything. And she's getting there, man. It's taken some time for sure. But just I try to tell her, you get 9 months on an ACL, and that doesn't mean 9 months and then you go straight into the gym and squat 300 pounds and rip a dirt
For
bike
sure.
at 9 months. It just takes time
Yeah.
to get that strength back. So she's getting the
Yeah.
brain conditioning and it's getting better, man. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I seen Lockie got hurt, did a wrist or something like that.
So it looked like
No shortage of speed out of that kid. And I think little Ollie Davis, he had like a foot or an ankle injury last year, and then kind of got the same thing, like had good speed and then got hurt and got thrown straight in. Didn't really have a lot of time to heal and then kind of struggled with injuries and stuff throughout the season. So now that he's got a big winter to get strong, I think that kid's going to shred too, second year.
are the kids gonna rip any laps in some shorts this year?
Keeping the shorts dream alive, dude. They loved it. That was their favorite part. They're like, dude, we look sick in shorts.
They better. Oh, I hope they get some laps in, at least in practice, in some shorts. Like, bring it back, man. Like,
If they ever listen to this or you talk to them, if we get some Vital Raw shots of them in
Yeah,
shorts,
dude,
we'll do
Vital's the
their
media-
own Instagram posts of just them in shorts.
you heard it there first, right there.
I'll tell the boys, dude.
And if they're running flat pedals, I'll Venmo them $10 each.
I'm pretty excited to see what this Italian kid does.
Yeah.
How his English comes around, but I think that should go pretty good.
Good
he looks
haircuts.
like Buzz from the Melvins, the lead singer of the Melvins. Look him up, dude. It's like a spitting image. I can't unsee it. Like, if I wish Spomer could like pull it up right now, but it would be so good.
We're gonna end up with those powers and abilities in the future here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Buzz Aldridge, I think his name is.
All right, kind of staying on sort of the Union, same thing. Oh wait, are we skipping?
No. Whoa.
I have a Spomer. Go back. I have a Oliver Zwar. He's going to Canyon F&D, so he graduated. That's where he has ended up. So that'll be a pretty sick team this year. I'm hoping Tawny's okay after her kind of rocky year last year with a head injury. So hopefully she's back. Joining PB Gale. I don't know if Chaos is doing World Cups or not. Kind of seems like he transitioned out of that.
Yeah, he's a free ride boy now, I believe.
Okay. I assumed as much. And then they have a new junior, Rudy Etchhorn. Maybe I'm jacking it up. Acorn. Rudy. I don't know where I saw it, but maybe it was in our forum. Somebody was like, that kid's super fast. So keep an eye on him. That'll be exciting, especially with a lot of fast juniors graduating to elite. It'll be nice to have some freshies.
Do we know where Ben Zwar went?
Ooh.
Oh, he is down in our rumor team changes that actually haven't come out, but unfortunately UCI team list is now on their website and updated. So he's going to the Junior Center Factory Racing.
How do we feel about that, Dak?
I wasn't going to drop that news. I actually knew that, and I'm not going to tell you how I knew that.
Well, it's because your boy Yuri Zabjek.
No, it was like because one of them messaged me. They're like, "Hey, what do you think about this 100% helmet?" And the other one sent me, "Hey, what do you think about the 100% helmet?" And I'm like, "Oh, I see what's going on here." Well, that wasn't hard to piece together. But yeah, he's on Junior, and it seems like they're trying to step up their game with more global presence. And so I know that they were, trying to fish around for riders and stuff, and I think it'll be super good.
What bikes are they on?
Yeah,
Canyon. Last year.
It is.
But I heard there may be a change this year.
Okay.
But Benny rips, dude. Like, I really think that Benny can go. Ollie has definitely showed like his speed, but like when I watch the two of them ride in practice, there's no shortage of speed from either of them. So I think if they can lay it down, it's going to be awesome. I mean, the kid Benny shreds, and he looks awesome on a bike too. So
yeah, that'll be exciting. All right, now we'll move on to Veronica Widman, who also left Madison Saracen and is going to Continental Nuke Proof Racing. So
that team stepping up big time.
For sure. I think it's going to be, I mean, they had their carbon version of their Descent that came out last year. So I'm sure that they've only progressed kind of where that bike's at. And I mean, she was third in the overall last year. So who knows, maybe it's always interesting kind of trying to contemplate why or assume why people move teams, but maybe she was looking for somewhere fresh and that's all she needs to be kind of mixing it up there. So yeah.
And then
looking for a change.
Is it Harry Malloy's helping out with that team as well now?
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good. Yeah, they're a package deal for sure. I think that for her, definitely, she needs to have him in her environment. And they did really good together when they were running their own program. So it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe they'll have a little bit of a looser program over there at Continental Nuke Proof. And some smiles and some shredding.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Back on the smile train.
Smile train. Oof. This is exciting news. Sam Blenkinsop riding for Crestline bikes. And so Crestline is a small brand out of the Northwest. It's kind of a combination of Cascade components and Crestline. And I think it's super rad. I mean, it's a recognizable racer, somebody that who doesn't like Sam Blenkinsop, right? And then him coming on board with a brand that's doing cool, unique stuff. I got to ride their downhill bike when I was at Whistler this year for just like 4 laps. But even still, like Troyden, the main dude there, is super cool, a ripper himself, and they're just, they're kind of pushing a little bit of like a modular idea with their bikes to consumers that get it. So you can set the thing up as a downhill bike, an enduro bike. With being with Cascade, you can swap the links to do different chainstay lengths, different leverage ratios. I mean, if you know like exactly what you want in a bike, you're like, I want my anti-squat this and my leverage ratio that. They'll like, all right, sure, crazy guy. Here's your links to make it happen. Well,
there's travel adjust between this frame and all that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's
that's
a lot
cool.
of options.
That's super cool.
And the bike, when I rode it, granted it was only a handful of runs, but it was incredibly balanced. It was a super balanced bike, but it was also really lively, like a very snappy, quick, responsive bike that like when this news came out, I'm like, dude, that matches Blinky's riding perfectly. So I don't really know if it was mentioned exactly like in this Instagram post we're looking at. It's like, stay tuned for more exciting news. Like, I don't really know what Blinky's plan is. Like, do you guys think he's planning to go World Cup racing still?
I bet he's going to do a mix.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in a bit of a
work.
life transition. Like having a kid, they just like travel around in a van a lot, which is the coolest thing ever. But like, it's funny thinking about Blinky to me, because I like growing up watching like whatever
Yeti.
early on downhill movie. Yeah, like he was on Yeti as like the young kid all the time, but like Blinky's like a dad now and stuff. So I mean, dude, Crankworks, he is a staple in those series. And I'm sure that they'd be hyped on whatever he does. So it'll be interesting to see if he sets has a few different frames set up with a different travel and wheel sizes and all that.
You think he'll throw some flat pedals back on?
Man, with some just big old 510s,
dude,
that'd be tight.
Impacts, flat pedals, and flat bars, baby. Let's go.
Yes.
Bring it back.
661 knee pads.
Let's go. Yeah, shorts.
Obviously, continue with no gloves. Obviously,
no gloves.
Never any gloves.
Maybe throw the neck donut back on.
All right, sweet. Moving on to a bullet point that I don't have a ton of info on still is Miranda Miller is leaving Kona after 4 years. So I'm not really sure what her next move is, but she still has been posting just riding a Kona, different like custom bikes that they did or were raffling off or something like that. So I don't really know what her next move is, but she's somebody that I think is a great asset for any brand she's with. She's such a cool person and laid back and a great rider. So who knows, maybe she transitions out of racing into more of like a face of a brand as a rider. I don't know.
It was cool. She did some cool projects with them. She went to Japan. If you haven't watched like any of that kind of stuff, she did a project in Japan. There's a bike park out there. So
okay.
They let her
shout out
do
to Kona for doing cool stuff.
Cool stuff. Yeah. So it'd be sick to see her continue on that path if possible.
Yeah. I'm surprised to see her leaving there in general. Like, I don't know. Seems a little strange, but who knows?
Yeah.
Boom. The Meyersmith brothers have left Propane and are on Giant.
Or did
they
Propane leave them?
Yeah.
What?
I said, or did Propane leave them?
That's a great question. The floor fell out beneath them and they ended up on a Giant when they hit the ground. Now, I mean, in my mind, I don't know. I think it's an upward trajectory for them. Like that's a positive, like team change. I don't see it as like, oh no, Propane's closing the doors. What are we gonna do? Like, oh, there's an offer from Giant. We'll take that. It was. I mean, they both have had great years. Or last year was really good for both of them. So I think that Giant's smart in picking them up, and they're joining Remy as well. So Giant kind of becoming. I wouldn't say they had like a dip in kind of like performance, but maybe just I haven't thought about that team as much in the last so many years, so it'll be cool.
They don't make a downhill bike anymore, production.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, smart.
But I was like looking at this one. Like I'm looking at this one. I'm like, I don't. Like, it's not the Rain. I think is the one that they were marketing as. There's a dual crown option. I think for the Rain comes stock with the dual crown, but that doesn't look like it. So
no, this is definitely its own beast.
Yeah.
Like I mean, looking at when. Yeah, I don't really know at what year they stopped making production bikes. Like I have not followed along. I don't know if they actually made a 29-inch version.
I don't think they did ever. I think
they ended at 27.5.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but when everything went to 2.9, they were off the back.
Because I know they've been making whatever we're looking at here, like a prototype or like just race frames for their team. And I mean, they're not the quickest to jump on board with like trends and stuff, it seems, as a brand. So I'm sure that whatever they're riding is refined and pretty sweet, because Giant sticks with that like Maestro suspension design that they've kind of always had. I'm sure that they refined it a ton with 27.5. I can't imagine it's that hard to make it into a mullet version and make it go fast. Like when I rode that bike, I thought it was sick. Like I rode a 27.5 version. It was very like plug and play. There's nothing crazy about it, but it worked, and it worked well, like kind of across the board. So
that one looks really slack. Like I don't know if it's the frame, like just like how the frame is designed, but it looks really slack.
Kind of
I think it's the low top tube.
Yeah, and like that curve.
Yeah, the curve really accentuates it.
That the low top tube.
Dude, good for knack-knacks or can-cans. Very good for can-cans.
You might have some competition, Dakota, for highest stack and bar.
Dude, there's been some days I've blown the feet off and landed on the top tube, and I wish I had a bit more clearance.
That just means further to fall.
Our man's got a point.
Oh, no, it looks good. Yeah, stack. If they had 60s, level. I'd toss them on. Like Nico Vink, I think, has a pair of 60s, and them things look like.
Dude, Deity makes 80s, I think.
Yeah, they do. I don't ask me how I know that, but they do.
We all own dirt jumpers still. It's okay.
Sometimes they cut the steer tube a little short. You need a little more height when you're a big dog. That's like it's at the point where like every time someone builds me on bike, I'm like, listen, do not cut the steer tube. Like, add 5 more spacers.
I need an extra 100 millimeters of steer sticking through.
They're like, you want 40s? I'm like, yeah, 40s, and leave me at least 60 under there.
That's for a podcast in the future. Is we're gonna break down your newest bike. Your like V2 HP6, whatever.
What can I say, man? I've been hogging.
Hey, she looks good.
Are you trying to make up catchphrases? What's happening?
Oh, the Harley. I've been Harleying.
Yeah.
I think I got the 10.5 thrashing risers on that boy.
Like, hey, you know how like you like sit on a bike and you kind of measure, like you kind of have your like stem at the same like tip of your seat and like the top tube, like you do like the eye it up kind of thing. Dak sits on it. He puts his arms like straight out. And he's like, all right, shoulder height while I'm sitting down. That's where my bars are at. Like, because he goes any higher, his hands start to fall asleep. Once they're above his head, his hands fall asleep.
Troy gets in the starting gate and does this. I just tap him on my bars. Come on, let's get back on track. Kid's looking good. The stack is looking right. I think he's in for a bright future on Giant.
Yeah.
With a stack like that, anything could happen, Future's open for him. All right, moving on.
Hey, back that thing up. Is that a mullet bike?
Yeah.
I was just double checking. I thought that one Marcelo was riding was full 29. So it definitely seems like, all right, we can go. I had to know.
Take notes. Boom. Biggest news we're going to cover here tonight. Sam Pilgrim has left High Bike after record sales due to his influence. He is now riding for Canyon.
That was below the belt for sure.
That was below the belt. What? All right. Before we started recording, we were talking about that and like talking about who sells bikes. And the point
Jason
was
said
ma-
that
I said
Jason
he sold
that-
every high bike you've ever seen out there.
Yeah,
and you
but-
guys said we've never seen any. So point proven. I already see a lot of Canyons out there, so I don't know how I'm going to differentiate which one Sam Pilgrim sold or not.
Is Canyon the new Commencal?
I don't know who that's more of a diss to in a weird way. No.
I was thinking that after Dak said that Union
know
was
if it's
on Canyon bikes last year, I was thinking about it, and like they have quite a few teams.
They do.
Yeah.
Not that Sam Pilgrim falls in the same category, but yeah, there's a lot of
Canyon is
Canyons in this list.
It's interesting because they also have Fabio Weidmer, who's like huge with like, you know, the videos and content, everything that he is and creates. So it's kind of an interesting one. I don't know. People were kind of up in arms, just assuming Sam's getting paid all this money, and they're like, that money should be going to other people who need rides and yada yada. And I'm like, dude, everybody has their place who's getting supported. Like,
Hey,
Sam has his place in the mountain bike industry and like creator space, and as a rider and an athlete, and like I would never dog somebody for like making it happen. And at the end of the day, he's super good at riding.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
He's creative.
really good at riding.
He's really, really good at riding. And if we're going to have anyone be our number one YouTube guy for mountain bikes, I'd rather it be Sam Pilgrim. He's really, really good at riding than another person who might not be really, really good at riding.
Yeah.
And a good person. Like I've heard Sam Pilgrim's a sick dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny because people will like shit on his videos for whatever reason. And I'm like, dude, I don't watch hardly any bike content, but I catch myself watching like one of his videos a month because he does shit that's like, I don't know, put like wooden handlebars on or something.
The steering wheel bike.
Yeah, you know,
He's like entertaining.
Yeah, I can't not like when Instagram like his steering wheel bike, he's like backflipping it over some huge jump. I can't not watch.
But also, dude, he just takes a kicker out and gets busy. Like, how many of us would just want to do that? Like, have you ever been cruising through the city and be like, damn, if I had a kicker and I could boot into that, that would be sick.
That would be
He's out there doing it. And it's like, heck yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
cool.
sweet. And I think him being on Canyon seems more correct than him on a high bike. Like,
Really?
I think it does.
Oh,
I think it definitely. Dude, the dude's skill.
Whatever.
Like, he can rip. So it's cool to see him on, like, you know.
And they make all the bikes. So, like, it makes sense. Like, high bike
True.
didn't make a dirt jumper. So, like,
I mean, Canyon even makes a bike with a steering wheel, so it's perfect.
they make a broomstick. He can ride that thing. Go full harried on it.
Okay. All right, kind of staying in sort of the same wheelhouse. Moving on to 50-1 team is off of Santa Cruz, which I think is interesting. I mean, I have always assumed that a lot of them riding for Santa Cruz started when Bryceland was still riding for Syndicate. It was just kind of like a easy transition or it made sense for all of them to be on there, you know? And I think it was a good play for Santa Cruz. I mean, 50-1 has become like its own niche of a riding style. And, you know, like, yeah, they're all have been influencing kind of like an upcoming generation of riders, you know, and Josh surprisingly has been with Cannondale for 5 years. I say surprisingly because it doesn't seem like it's been that long to me. Still
It is,
the sickest rider.
Dude, go
it
watch
is a
this
new
e-bike
generation
video.
of kids riding fancy carbon trail bikes like they're BMX bikes.
Yeah, I'm super about it.
At Valmont, I'm torn because like at Valmont, there's a bunch of kids that are like 14 and shredding on like, they'll have like a 50-10 with a rear brake, single speed, and like carbon bike, and they're just beating the hell out of it. Like, what's the point? Like, just get a dirt jumper.
Yeah.
It's better here anyway, but it's just like the 50-1 kids that are just like hammering carbon bikes.
Yeah, I think a lot of that
Feels like a
was
Boulder
Steve
thing to
Pete.
me, but
It's happening everywhere.
No, dude.
Yeah.
I have this. I'm not going to say what brand it is, but I have this 120 rear, 140 front, 27.5 size medium bike with one brake on it, and it has gears, and the thing is like shock pump, full supercross mode, and it is so much fun to ride. So, like, dude, I'm fully behind it. I think it's so cool to see, like, dudes that just, like ride bike. Like you get into bike riding, you're like, oh, you gonna race? And it's like, no, dude, I just ride bikes. Like I just like to shred. I like riding the park with my buddies. I like hitting jumps, and this is what I do. And it's like, I think that is so awesome.
Yeah.
No,
It
I
is cool.
agree. Well, with that, Craig Evans has joined Airdrop, which small brand from Sheffield. So rad for them to be supporting Craig, rad for him to be, like working with the smaller brand like that. I think that's really big for them. And it seems like a perfect match. He's kind of like pretty loose on the bike, real raw, and their bikes have that sort of same look. They're maybe a tad more just, I don't know, raw, less refined looking, but their bikes look super sick. I think their downhill bike is called like a Slacker or something like that. And
Slacker, I think.
dude, thing looks rad.
There's a big guy on a little bike though.
I'm about it,
Watching that
dude.
video.
Going back to the whole jibbing thing, I would ride a smaller bike if all I was gonna do was like cutties and jibs down a rut track.
Yeah, it's like the whole industry standard is to go longer.
Well,
Longer.
because it's safer, and a lot of people would like to be safe when they ride or feel safe.
Hey,
dude, I think it's
I ride a
sick as
small
shit.
bike.
Dude, it's so much fun.
I'm allowed
Like-
to say this.
Yeah, but you would usually ride a medium.
Well, I could ride a large.
I
have
guess that
ridden a
you could
large.
ride like a large would be big, a medium would be like either
Well, I
way,
rode a
depending
large
on the bike.
intense, and it wasn't like big by any means.
No.
That was like a
Like-
2017 intense though.
No, my bike's not that big right now. It's
What is your
not
reach?
467.
Yeah,
No,
Yeah, I
we're
can
on
Do you
ride
guys
very-
put a size on
Do you
it?
know the
It's technically a large, I think. No, maybe I'm on a
What's-
medium.
what's
but
wheelbase on your bike? Do you know?
hard
Next
saying, not
podcast.
knowing.
Yeah.
Long because I have a +6 headset in it and a 45 mil stem, so that pushes my wheelbase out a bit.
You're like, anyway.
So you mean to tell me that you went longer to go shorter? Dude, I'm 4 size medium trail bikes. Like I have a little. My
Yeah.
e-bike is much smaller, and it is a absolute blast.
I'm into the small bikes.
Yeah,
I like correct fitting bikes. Anyways, Josh Lewis is riding for Score now, which I think is rad. I mean, Loose Dog is sort of that he is who I think of when I think of 50-1 and kind of like
Yes.
the vibe they put out. So I think that video right there, or that clip, perfectly illustrates 50-1ing, as I call it. Or maybe that's 50-2. But yeah, those bikes are sweet. I rode one of their e-bikes during Crankworks Whistler as well, and very thought out and super clean looking. Like those bikes are sweet.
Dude, I've never heard of
then-
this bike company, and there's
I
so
haven't
many
either.
bike companies. Either that or Crestline. Either I'm like, where are they finding these? I didn't-
They look a lot like a Santa Cruz.
Everything looks like a Santa Cruz now. The
But
Score is it BMC?
I think
No. Is
it's-
it?
we've had this conversation.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can do it in post. We'll put up who it is right now.
Look
but
at the length of that man's stem.
Yeah.
For
Yes,
sure, 35.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it's bolted on top of his steer tube.
Yeah, he's on Deity also now,
Yeah,
And,
DD and
oh.
Marzo instead of
and then
Rock
Etnies,
Short stem dog. I like
Soltec
it.
guy.
Anyway, Score is like a side brand of a bigger brand, and I believe it's BMC. I mean, I think their whole story was like two engineers who worked there wanted to make like not doper, but just like their own cool little brand, and then the company they were working for was like, what you guys are doing is really rad. We'll just take it in, and you guys can still do it your own. But that's why Score is able to, it seems like, make really good quality bikes. So
Score.
outdoor.
Score.
No, that's
for
something
score.
different. Does it stand for something?
It is
Okay.
spelled wrong. They do spell it wrong. I'll just put it that way.
All right, more people leaving Santa Cruz. How do you say his
Iago?
first name? Iago. Thank you. Iago Garay is joining Cannondale, which is rad. I mean, I don't know. I think that's sick. I think just more
Dude.
Cannondale doing like supporting more dope riders seems like a power move, and their bikes look good. So
Yeah.
And they took on Max Beaupre, U.S.
He's
East
been with
Coast.
them for this is his second year, right?
Yep, I believe he's been riding for them for a little bit, but as far as I understood it, he's going to be a part of like their factory EWS team.
Sick.
So, which is sick. I mean, he only did, I think his first stint in EWS was this year when it came to the US, and he had like a top 20, like right off the bat, or like a top 30. So, yeah, super dope. That'll be cool to see how that turns out for him. All right. Keep moving on. We probably should have opened with this. This is what people really want to know. Lewis Buchanan on OnlyFans, and I'm always give my 2 cents real quick. I think it's sweet. I think that it's a bit of a bold move to take, but if I had to guess, with OnlyFans seeming to starting to support athletes or creators or whoever now, like they're trying to change their image to the outside. So they're probably going to pay you a good amount of money to come on board, knowing that right now their image is such, like they're associated with stuff that's just like not maybe as an athlete what you always want to be branded as. But I mean, power to Lewis for him, taking that on and wanting to do it. It'll be interesting if he has issues with other sponsors being on board with his choice. So, yeah.
Yeah, as the great Steve Miller Band said,
well,
take the money and run.
It's like
no comment.
There's a Trojan a condom helmet on the World Cup circuit, but it's not branded. That like a what is it? Fiber Magic, some plus.
Well, back in the day,
Oh,
young D Riff.
I was gonna say.
Did Brad Benedict have?
I think
Brad Benedict. Yeah, I don't remember the brand, but I remember being like 14 at a race. Like, what? I'm confused.
It's either Fiber Premium or Fiber Plus, but it's on the World Cup circuit as we speak, and it just flies under the radar. But you strap that OnlyFans helmet on, like, dude, that thing is not under the radar. It's
a bold helmet.
It's bold,
colors and all.
Yeah,
bold.
But hey, more power to him. I'm curious. I'm curious if like the OnlyFans brand is going to change, because it's like, isn't Patreon the same thing? So realistically, I'm like wondering, is this brand shift they're doing going to work? I don't know, but
yeah.
Hey, more power to them.
They got they've quite the uphill battle to rebrand themselves.
Yeah,
without like, I don't even know.
Is it Justin Starling for Supercross?
Yeah, I know. I saw Supercross dude, or
Logan Carnow.
Logan,
and it was a weird scene at Anaheim 1. Yeah, I like was going through the pits, and like, he's got his big OnlyFans tent.
Yeah,
and like kind of the back corner. Yeah, like the back corner of the pits, and then Ronnie Mack was there, and there's like, it's just a weird scene.
I think
like, all around.
Did you have to pay money to like go inside their pit and actually see their bikes and stuff, or was it still open?
No, this is like a 10 by 20.
Was there a physical paywall?
Yeah.
But if you want to see more inside the motor, you can pay it low price.
$4.99 a month.
Oh my!
Will he be selling photos of his toes?
Oh man,
Hold on. Here's the burning question I have: is would you do it, Dakota? Would you ride for only?
I wanted to ask that too. I mean, you're talking about these Monster helmet or Rockstar helmet. What about?
It sounds like there's a lot you wouldn't do at this point to make some bones. Would you do OnlyFans?
It's not about the bones. First of all, it's not about the bones.
At what point
put a roof on this house?
How much money?
Yeah.
I don't know what I can say here. I'm between a rock and a hard place. I mean, I would entertain the idea for sure. Yeah. I don't know.
Very diplomatic of you. Appreciate that response.
Well, you had the jackhammer bunny the coffee.
The Jack
Oh,
Yeah.
you had the
Yeah.
alcoholic coffee. Isn't that what it was?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
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 That was kind of edgy. I'll
Yeah.
give it
A little
to you,
bit.
you know? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Dale's.
I mean,
Or no?
No, he never
That
had
was-
Dale's.
That was
No.
Nico.
no, yeah, Nico was on Dale's, and then Nico was on the Bunny as well.
The bunny on the jackhammer.
You know, hey, I would entertain all offers.
Well, we're
I'm
really
sending
looking
this
forward-
podcast straight to the OnlyFans @info email. He'll do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Make
I
an
only want
offer.
1%.
1%.
Oh.
Interesting. Yeah,
But-
interesting.
okay,
Play.
so
I
we were
don't know how
talking
I got
earlier.
shoveled into
Yeah.
this.
We were talking earlier about how this affects his other sponsors, though.
What?
Like that was like something that got brought up in the forums is how this affects like
Mm.
the status of his other sponsors, and someone was mentioning them like possibly pulling out and things like that. Jason's face.
There were some controversial comments on that post. I will say that.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean personally I would be kind of disappointed if other brands just like cut their support to him because of this. Like I don't like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sure OnlyFans has a lot of content on there that like a lot of people probably have issues with or isn't appropriate or however you want to look at it, but all of that content is behind a paywall and he hasn't signed on with an OnlyFans being like you're going to pay for all this explicit content. Like he has a plan in place, you know,
Yeah.
like, and it is it's the same as Patreon or other platforms that aren't grouped into that only being explicit content like OnlyFans has sort of become, but like, you know, he has a plan for it and he's pretty clear in his post that like they're trying to rebrand themselves and he's like stoked to be a part of that. And it'd be a bummer if other brands can't just be like, I don't know, adults about it maybe. I don't know. You know?
I mean, you look at most people's Instagram Explorer pages, and it's a little bit touchy as well.
Yeah, dude.
So-
I don't. Yeah,
I mean, it's like I mean, you know,
yeah.
it's, questionable.
No,
but
he's
I think,
technically not doing anything wrong. Like or against his sponsors, like guidelines, I assume. So I bet it's fine.
but I definitely think from like maybe some of the other athletes that are out there that are directly having maybe some questionable pages be like the main sponsor on the side of their shrouds at the Supercross race. Like it's definitely giving off that impression by some of the other athletes. But I mean, like there's multiple different sides of this thing. So
We'll see how it plays out. You know.
Yeah. Hey man, I just say take the money.
Sticking with it.
Yeah.
All right.
Gaspardine approves.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Big dog. Kyle Strait has moved on from Commencal after 8 years. Solid run. And moving over to Vitus. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce that. It's not Vitus. I could be
Okay.
completely wrong, but I think
All
that's
right.
I think that's right. But this is sick. I mean, first off, there were some shots of Kyle riding. Epic to see after his horrific slam at Rampage. So that made me feel good. And then I think it's a good move. I mean, they're making a really big push in the US with their bikes, and they seem pretty sweet. I mean, all the bikes that we've reviewed from them have been really solid, and they offer, you know, price points that are more fitting for more riders, I guess, you know, like they don't have only your upper echelon of bikes that you can get. So yeah, I think it'll be sweet. I believe I'm actually forgetting on where they are, but they are in the US and they're stateside. So it's, you know, makes sense for them to sign somebody like Kyle. Also, side note is in all of the photos of this bike, he has a custom 7-speed axis derailleur, which in parentheses, I think it says like garage edition or something like that. So like he clearly made it, but it begs the question, like, why hasn't SRAM just made this? Especially if Kyle and I'm pretty sure Cam Zink had one, like they figured it out. Like it can't be that hard just to, I don't even know, make it work. And like electric shifting with no cables on a downhill bike, seems like where we should have started for some reason. Like you already only have brakes. Be at the cleanest setup ever.
Yeah. I would love to have that on my downhill bike.
Right?
It would be really sick. Also, if we're going by Vitus, they're owned by Wiggle Corporation, so which is the same ones that own Chain Reaction. So
wiggle with it.
They're in there wiggling.
Wiggle with it, wiggle with it, wiggle with it.
Bringing it back to 2011. We're just
Yes.
No, I think it looks good.
And Team CRC.
yeah.
Yeah, sweet. All right. We're leaving the realm of confirmed team rumors and entering rumored team rumors. And
Pure
starting off
speculation
with
here.
really the only one that matters, and that's Sam Hill to race World Cups in 2023. You know, this post he hints at it. He has 212 days until, and I'm pretty sure that landed at like Val di Sole World Cup. But since then, UCI team registry, whatever, he's listed for downhill, not the Enduro World Cups. And then he had another obscure post about like riding downhill and getting ready for the future and stuff. But I've heard from a few different sources that he was like pretty over enduro racing. Like he got into it, crushed it, became super successful at enduro racing after having a downhill career first, kind of did his thing. And then I think it sounded like he was sort of getting burned out on like the whole format and going to the same places again. And like, it kind of became like just doing a bunch of downhill runs. Whereas originally it was like kind of more mixed racing. You'd have some like really long stages or like, it wasn't just who could like go super fast for 4 minutes or what have you. And I think he maybe left downhill with still something to prove in a little bit, like he left his mark obviously, but maybe kind of like burned out quick. It sort of felt, or had, he had injuries and all that stuff. So anyways, that would be the sickest news ever because Sam Hill's the sickest thing ever. And he wears shorts and rides flat pedals. It's basically the end of that.
Yeah, better be bringing those shorts out. Just don't even show up with a pair of pants.
Oh, he doesn't wear pants. He's got shin tattoos. So I mean, like
the snake has got it. Just get out there and let it loose.
I'm really curious what he'll do. I think he is going to show up and race downhill. I feel pretty confident about that, which will be phenomenal. He that alone.
Race an Australian national. Wasn't the best showing, but he was fresh off the collarbone from Crankworks in Cairns.
Yeah, somebody like him seems so calculated and like in control of his abilities and where he's at that like I don't see him having a problem showing up to a national just to like get some laps in, knowing he's nowhere close to like doing well. But it'll be really crazy. Like I actually don't know how many years it's been since he left downhill. I mean, it's got to be like 8 years or something.
His last win was 14, Maribel.
Yeah. So, I mean,
this
is usually when Austin pulls up roots in rain. But I would think he probably raced World Cups maybe last in 15. So, call it 8 years, I guess. It'll be really interesting to see how he does. I mean, I don't know. It'll just be so exciting. I like literally can't wait. So yeah, hopefully he qualifies.
Dude, he's gonna have a triple digit.
I'm just kidding. What's that?
He's gonna, because we're going to permanent numbers now, baby. Like he's gonna have a triple digit.
It's true. Well, we're going to permanent numbers for what, top 10 or top 20?
No, only top 10 because Lauren Gwynn, we were at dinner the other night. She's like, "Oh, what's your number?" And Aaron's number 8. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. I don't have a number, actually. I'm out OTA. So yeah, just top 10, I think.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. John was pumped on that. Yeah, John Hall was real pumped on permanent numbers. But
does that mean you keep the same number plate, or you still get a new one every round?
All year.
But I mean, like same number, but like Did you get like some cool like permanent number plate?
No, it'll probably be one that's still too small to fit on the front of the bike. So like a Post-it stamp.
Got you.
Are we doing decals to the bikes like we talked about last year? This is gonna open up so many things, dude. I'm thinking numbers. So I'm thinking numbers right on like where the down tube and top tube join together. We do like a little number right there. Maybe
Didn't
on
they
the
try that in BMX? It didn't
We're gonna-
go well.
maybe we do a swing maybe around the seat tube area, like the junction.
We'll talk
right
about this
there.
when we talk about
We're
Dakota's
putting
bike.
plastics on.
we could.
You putting a diaper on your bike?
We getting a
You
Chirby's
get a
out
lot
here.
of room for branding.
Come on, we're no diaper guys.
Oh, I think we officially lost Austin.
He's been in and out.
We're gonna
Um,
start
looking
calling him
confused.
Boston.
The same as Transition Factory Racing page, looking like it's definitely fake. Austin's no longer with us now. He maybe never was.
Calls it and Rock
Transition starting a World Cup team. Lars kindly dropped in our forums and left that little nugget for us. So they haven't announced exactly who it is, but I'm pretty sure based on the UCI list you can look up now, Tristan, is it Lemire? Is that how you say his last name? You should know. You race against him.
He was in the garage the other day.
He was?
There's no secrets when you live close to the rock because everybody comes through.
Mm.
Yeah,
Well,
I've seen him.
We won't talk about what bike he was on, even though we know what it is. But yeah, that's I chatted with Lars a little bit the other night, and like they're just super stoked to have a team. It's going to be, I wouldn't like call it like, it's sort of a development team a little bit, but it's also just their first year kind of taking it on. So that in itself kind of, it's a building year in a lot of different ways. And everybody they're supporting is riders that have a lot of potential. So it'll be really sick. He's back.
Lost
All
I'm
right.
back. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I
All
had
right.
an alarm go off on my phone and killed my broadcast.
Nuke
All right.
attack.
Let's bang out the last few things here. Trek is apparently going to run Pirelli,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy. I don't like Pirelli. Seems very surprised. I mean, first of all, because they have Bontrager. I mean, I know they haven't really had like a downhill selection for a while, or really like a gravity focused selection for a bit, but it seems like, I don't know, it just seems kind of strange. Like, why wouldn't they work on more tires for themselves? Or maybe that is the plan.
It's kind of like if Specialized was just like, Specialized Gravity is running Pirelli instead of like the Cannonballs or whatever, It's kind of weird. Because aren't they, I thought Bontrager was still pushing G4s and G5s.
They still make the G5. That's what Chuck ran all last year.
But that's like it.
But yeah, and they have a G Mud, I think, still.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
The G5 tire was
terrible, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. But yeah, maybe this falls in the category of OnlyFans. You never know. But we're not. This is all speculation. Put that out.
Are you going to sing to us again?
I'm not going to treat you with
take
that.
the money you run.
I don't know. I think it could be sweet. I don't really know. It's kind of a weird one to like speculate on. I mean, it is Trek, so they're one of the major brands out there, but like just changing up their tire, I'm like, dude, there's so many, not really politics, but just stuff that happens behind the scenes on why teams run what they do and why things end up the way they do. So
I know they were having problems like sourcing the tires that they wanted to, as far as like letting all their riders run whatever tire they wanted to, but like making sure that they had the tires that the riders wanted to run. And maybe that's like a thing with going to Pirelli, is like having a say with development and like just having their riders on a consistent tire.
Yeah,
I think
for sure. I would have to
really
guess.
Good.
What's that?
I think the rubber's really good.
And Pirelli's clearly making a huge push in bikes and racing. So I'm sure that they're like, we'll do whatever you want, like I'm sure they're kind of opening up their whole tool belt to allow Trek to kind of have free range for what they, their athletes need. So yeah, will be interesting. It's the Pirelli branding, tire branding is growing on me.
The rubber is really good. Road tires are sick. P0s.
Yeah.
Real sick road tire. They hook.
In my mind, I'm just like, what does that even mean?
I was about to say, what's a sick road tire?
It's smooth,
dude.
The smoothest.
I've backed it into some corners on not really sick tires, and it is scary. Like heavy braking into downhill turns and back end kicking out on you is not something you want.
Sounds like you need a mountain bike.
The Pirellis, though, they hook.
I was gonna say Pirellis were hooking up.
Yeah.
Off the start.
Dude, look at the comments on this post. It's like Reese Wilson,
Yeah.
Scorpion Power, Pedro Burns, and then just two dudes that are just coming in trying to drop an elbow. Like, dude, people love to just troll on the internet. Like,
well, and
dude,
you know, both those people are probably just running whatever tires came on their bike. You know.
oh, for sure, they're on
White
3C
labels.
Max Terra.
Yeah.
For sure, they're like they're Maxis. They're like they gotta be great. I'm like, dude, they have half the traction.
Oh, dude,
Like,
you better be
okay,
careful.
easy there.
No, like
Max
easy
is
there.
no, the Max
sponsor
Is this
the
your
Max
weird
Terra.
V plug you're trying to get in here?
No, the Max Terra tires compared to the downhill tire. Like when you ride a Max Grip tire, like forever I had like Max Terras on my e-bike, and I'd see a route and be like, oh god, and then I'd almost eat it, and then I'd hit it on my downhill bike and be like.
No,
Like
it's
almost
true.
made me think I couldn't go over things that I could go over with. I was like, dude, from now on, Max Grip on everything.
Let me tell you, high roller 2s, Max Grip 3C. Yeah, that's the tire that you want.
That's what you need.
Yep.
But I will say, if the tire is going to go on people should know if it's on a Trek Factory Racing race bike, probably pretty good. Like, chances are
true.
it's all right.
Yeah.
All right. Final thing to close out with. Who will be the announcer for World Cups next year? It still has not been revealed. Wait, sorry, Spomer. Still has not been revealed. We're still waiting to hear who's going to take Rob's place. What do we got? We've already
Needles.
talked about this. Needles.
Doing
What you said?
Yeah, that's
Needles
what I
would be
said.
interesting.
Mhm.
Listening to some of the Downtime podcast with Chris Ball today that came out today. We should get into more of it later, but one interesting bit is they're going to have a bigger team of reporters and like announcers, and they're going to have like a trackside person, kind of like, I don't know, it sounds like kind of like Daniel Blair vibes on Supercross.
Jason Thomas.
And I
is gonna
think
be-
I'm just throwing it. I think Elliot Jackson will be on the team somewhere.
Is he not
be
tied
super
to
good.
Red Bull?
I don't think
he has
is
a
anymore,
Red Bull
but-
contract.
Really?
Contract still.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm just assuming based on what he did in the past, but I don't know if
Yeah.
he's tied to it like Rob is.
Oh yeah, I'm curious. I think he'd be a great person for it. I was just thinking he would be awesome for the trackside. But
For sure.
I mean, he was already trackside.
true.
Yeah, like
But
pre-recorded
it sounds
trackside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like they want to get into like even like during the live feed, like trackside people and like trying to show a different side of it. But I don't
What
know.
about-
I don't know what you're
it's
going to show
it's
the
weird.
inside of like a rider passing by in 3 seconds.
Right.
You're going to
No.
need those infomercial readers that like read the disclaimer in the radio commercials.
They're going to
Well,
be
and
like
they-
standing on the side of the track at Leo Gang, like
In the rain.
they're going vertical with the track. The track is, I can't do it because of the angle. They're going to be standing like this. They're going to be really steep out here. They're looking sporty.
Well, it's funny because they already had G doing like post-run interviews, which I thought those were
Yeah.
about as cool tracks as you can get for downhill racing, and
Yeah.
like the constraints of it being one rider at a time, like coming down the hill, But like G, as far as I'm aware, is on the path back to racing next year.
Dude,
So
we didn't talk about that.
you know, well,
G-Man.
maybe we just don't mention it, And then like at the first race when he comes out and shocks everybody, we'll just be like, he's still the sickest.
Yeah. But
Um,
are we going to have like some random person out there like poking at ruts? Like and just stepping over ruts in the middle of the racing.
Doing this to dirt.
Yeah.
Maybe
There's loose rocks.
Kicking rocks down the track.
There's marbles everywhere. Track
you
is
guys-
really deteriorating.
that epic video, I think it's Barsha maybe or somebody or like an
it's
outdoor
Barsha.
national where like the reporter is talking about the ruts out of the start and they're like, there's all these rocks in the start. And he's just like, just doing that in the background. I would have to guess they get somebody who's a really good personality and good at talking in the camera to do that stuff. But as far as like announcing the race, it'd be really shocking to me if it's somebody that we don't go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like if it's just a random, it would be very odd.
Like if they pulled a Ralph Shaheen, like if they
Dude,
just
but I
pulled-
love Ralph.
What if they
Put
had
Ralph
David
in.
Attenborough?
Put
Just,
Ralph
it's
in.
Discovery, we could have David Attenborough just like,
It's true.
and the tiger, he comes through.
It just got so quiet. Yeah, that'd be epic as well. I don't know. I'm either down for somebody that people we've kind of mentioned, or just really jack it up and just put in a rando.
Yeah, I'm here for the left fielder. Just
Yeah, that's kind of what
pull
I'm
it.
thinking a little bit. I don't know why. It's because like in my head, in a way, it's like everything's changing, and I'm just like, yeah, just mess it up, make everything worse, So just pick some random person to announce it. You would, but that's being really negative.
No, I don't think it would be bad. I think it'd be
Speller's
good.
laughing and shaking his head yes right now. I just know it.
I think it'd be good if they just pulled someone out and just put him in there, just cold turkey.
The
And
pot has been stirred.
yeah,
It's going to be, man, what are we in for?
I don't know. Time will tell.
I can't believe it's not Warner. It's
Dude.
just messed up.
No, it sucks.
I'm just kicking myself because I should have applied for that producer position for Discovery. Dude, I could have
I
been in
don't
there.
know.
Could have had all the news and the hot takes for you guys. But
That would have been sweet.
man, I blew it.
You could have
Sorry.
been calling in from the broadcast booth. That would have been neat. Well,
Get your
next
hair
year.
slicked back.
I'd have to give Jason Thomas's hair and
Run for
makeup
his
guy
money.
get the
God.
grease.
Oh, man. He was my favorite racer growing up because my middle name's Thomas. So,
My middle name's Thomas too.
oh, shit. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
TT. All right. Speaking of TT, moving on to Tanner's Take, which is one of multiple sections we've sort of come up with, but we're only going to roll out one for this first podcast. But yeah, this is going to be Tanner's chance to just, cover anything maybe outside of racing, or maybe it is in racing, but just bikes that are dope. So
Highly opinionated individual over here.
yeah, like the whole idea is for it to be somewhat controversial, but not to be discussed. There's no questioning it.
Dude, just look at this. All right, so setting the scene here. Back alley deals.
gotta
Goes
set the
65
Wait,
staying.
Wait, what are we watching?
Yeah, we got to set the stage for those not watching.
Tempo video with Hugo. We don't know how to say his last name. We aren't French.
Frixtalon.
Frixtalon. And dude, we got him getting the back alley deal with the Tempo in the back of the 65 Mustang. Picks this thing up. He builds it up. Takes it straight to BC. Takes it to Kamloops. Destroys the place. Just leaves it scorched earth. Just full scorched earth policy.
There's beyond the writing in this, which is phenomenal. I mean, the camera work.
Storyline is impeccable.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because that's more your MO than mine. But like, what makes you so into this video that like ties it all together?
Dude, they portray that like the bike is basically like the movie Limitless. Like it's a limitless pill. It's going to make you better in all aspects of life. And then it's basically should be illegal. But Hugo, who's insanely good at riding, he gets this bike and just starts like riding these basic looking trails, but he just looks really sick on them. And then he's like, they tie it together with, eventually like towards the end of the video, he's like, getting out of the car, he's going on to the photo shoot. All of a sudden his life is like just gone way up, like 4 levels. He's in the penthouse now. And
That is
The
Dude.
penthouse.
yeah, he's Oh man, he's in the penthouse. He's in the photo shoots. He's wearing the suit. Like his whole life is just elevated because of this bike. And you don't even like see like if you were just gonna watch it, you'd probably wouldn't see it at first, but you'd be like, oh, why is he? It's like a weird ending. And then you watch it again, you're like, that was the sickest riding ever. And then you're like, oh wow, this bike just made him like the sickest dude. And like it just But
I mean,
that's how you market a bike.
yeah, dude. You know what's funny is the song in this was kind of weird, but like it's a song that I would not ever listen to, but I love it in this video.
Dude,
like it just works super perfect.
Yeah, it's got really good pacing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speeds up, it slows down, and then they like are able to cut to the beats. And
Dude.
that last shot, that turn up, just
sick.
Bro, you know what I like about this whole deal? I know this is Tanner's take, and it's not to be discussed.
Dude, jump in on it.
But they take the tempo, and which is like maybe not I think it's a shorter travel trail bike, and normally they would
125.
Want to market that to the average consumer and get some dude to bounce around like a bunny, like my dog about to get food, pop around on it, and they just take a dude that absolutely can rip and just leans like it's 120 bike and it shreds like and you can shred it shreds.
For sure.
Yeah.
So sick.
Dude, then the last clip of him like watching himself is just like full circle of like, this is what your life could be. Like
that is pretty tight.
I think it was the dude that makes these videos is Leon Perrin, and he directed. Yeah, he directed and edited that video, and he killed it.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is more of what Hugo's doing in the future.
Dude,
although
Hugo
he's doing both right now.
Yeah.
So maybe he just sticks with it. I agree. This gets the video of the year for 2022 stamp pretty easily. I mean, there's a lot of dope videos, but I think that's why, for the reasons we've been talking about, this one stands out. It's more than just like epic riding. It's like it starts with epic riding. Or maybe it starts with a good story.
And it's not like
they
they're
put in
pushing
epic
the story on you. Like there's no talking. There's no like overly produced like scenes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like very subtle, but there is a story to it.
Yeah. I definitely want one of those bikes.
Dude, I am a big fan of short travel bikes.
Me
Huge
too.
fan. Like short, flickable, like fun to ride, climb uphill good, and then you can do things like that. It's just like a slalom bike on your everyday ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
So rad.
No, I'm kind of like to your point about them using an epic. Oh my god, that shot's insane. Them using a rider like him for this bike launch.
Out of the ordinary.
It's out of the ordinary, but then I think about it and it's like, I mean, this bike maybe more so than other bikes that are in that same category from other brands. I mean, it's a Commencal. Like I'm sure that bike's not the lightest. You know, they make it a bit more descent focused, and a lot of brands are doing the like 130 bike that's longer, slacker, all that stuff now, and like they're the sickest bikes because you can ride them harder now. We don't need to like pretend. Dude, yeah, like we don't need to keep pretending that or keep pushing like, no, like it still can climb well, or no, it's still light. It's like, dude, no, like it's literally a bike that can do everything, and you should be pushing the abilities of it.
My Spark, that is this same frame that Nino Schurter rides on World Cups and wins World Cups on. Like I go and do downhill laps on that thing. I mean, it is scary, but like it does it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you put like slightly burlier tires on it. Bikes these days can rip. Oh, that shot's
crazy.
Sick. All right. We'll let that whip close out this podcast.
That
turn up for what? I think that's it. I think we actually made it to the end of this first podcast after like 4 tries. And yeah, I'm stoked. I'm stoked because we got a lot more of these planned. We already have so many topics in the queue. And if everything aligns, we'll be sitting down again in less than a week so we can do it all over. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Maybe they might not be as short as we said they would be. But
we're not too good at that.
Yeah.
It turns out all we need is one topic.
It's almost midnight, dude. It's way past my bedtime.
Man, you're living in
Jack,
the wrong
East
time
Coast.
zone.
This is wild. We're wild now. It's okay. You guys are the ones that always wake up at much earlier than me to do this, so you can take an L every once in a while.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to the B Practice podcast. Another shout out to Max's Berg Tech Industry 9 for the support this year, and we'll see everybody in a week or so. Peace.
Sweet.
See ya.
See ya.
Oh my
Yo,
God,
you
this is
made
so
it.
bad. You did it.
Oh man.
Nice work.
What's the words, Bomer, for the